That couldn't have been.
That
You,
was
you would have
perfect.
thought that I texted her and say, pretend you didn't see my text. But I didn't have to.
I even have a stupid watch that's supposed to like buzz at me, and apparently I'm to the point I ignore it, I guess. I don't know. Or it's not connected anymore and I haven't figured it out.
We just proved Jason right.
Just like she
I
always
do what I
does.
can.
I do what I can.
All right, we're on the record. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Julie Hancock, Bannock County Elections Administrator.
Carrie Povey, Chief Deputy Clerk.
Let's go ahead and talk about. We're on.
Let's do, Julie, you go first.
Okay. So I highlighted on mine everything that's mine. So it's probably going to be easier for me to find. So on the payroll, I don't know, really I didn't put much because I don't know what's going to happen, but it would just be a 3% anyway, or a 2, or.
Yeah, commission's
Not something I was-
working on that with
Okay,
HR
so I don't-
and auditing, yeah.
There's a couple line items that could be removed, but I can talk to Kirsty about that later. So, the first one.
Most of Julie's
Pardon my
stuff will be on the
eye.
second page.
Yeah.
Hers is more towards the bottom
Okay.
of the clerk's budget.
The election supplies and.
So, oh, that's extra help. Overtime, reduced that a little bit from 2022.
Oh, I guess at 50, because she's still on A. In the clerk's budget, all the only thing that's overtime and extra help, the only overtime that gets paid traditionally is election workers. And we pay the employees that work election day overtime. Normally, the rest of the year they'll get comp if they have any. And we actually don't have any money in here for overtime. That
I was
got
gonna say,
zeroed.
why do you not have money in for extra help?
So Julie, what do you want in there?
Well, on my sheet, I kept it, I guess I kept it the same with 2022, 2,400 in the overtime line.
And then 50 for extra help?
So there's a couple extra help lines here. And one of them, we weren't sure, the part-time permanent, which was Ruth,
Oh,
it still shows, okay, we have that at 0. That
Yeah.
can stay at 0. And then the other help, extra help elections is at 50.
yeah,
And I think it can stay at that.
okay. And then the rest of the offices, our office just gets comp, and if the clerk's office has any overtime, they just comp it too. So,
And then we go clear down to 42,000, which is elections office supplies. I kept it the same.
Just a question on the code 40300, where you had, oh, never mind, sorry. I was looking at the wrong line. Scratch that.
Operating supplies, we took that down by 1,000. And then we go to the next page. Repairs and maintenance office equipment, kept that the same at 2,000. Postage, I went up to, I have 4 or 5 line items right now that are in the negative. I mean, bottom line, we're fine. Probably gonna roll 70 or 80 back in. But that postage kind of hurt us because we didn't really know we were gonna send 45,000 letters out.
Right.
And then there was a lease.
Those letters went out due to the redistricting.
So that put us in the negative. But November's gonna be a little bit bigger mail outs probably. So I just went up a little. And then travel stayed the same. Education stayed the same.
Am I missing something?
We're skipping.
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
skipping lines.
yeah.
You want the number?
Nope, we're good.
Oh. Lease on elections went up because we have lease agreements on 3 machines now over there. The envelope opener, the folding machine, and the photocopier. So I took that up. Some of the parts on those machines can be super spendy if you don't have a maintenance agreement.
We've only got,
There was 2 in there. I bumped it up to 5.
We're only showing two
okay, that's
here.
not showing. We show office equipment at, office equipment at 5, and elections lease at 2. We might need your sheets again, just to
Okay.
verify that we've got the right numbers.
Okay.
That's
Because
what I
our
was-
postage is showing the same
Mhm.
too.
I was off on the last couple of lines going,
Yeah.
I'm not tracking.
Yeah, me
here.
too now.
Yeah. I need
Okay.
to get your sheets and
Okay.
make sure we've got it, what we need.
Okay. And then the next line, election supplies. I need to replace some broken totes, but I still took it down by $10,000.
See, and we're showing 20.
Yeah, but that can be 10 now.
Okay.
I think we'll be fine
So-
with 10.
So we'll get some new sheets
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
for
Okay.
Julie.
That's why we have these meetings.
Right.
Well, this
This might have been when we did the budget
Yeah.
thing and she wasn't available, we said we're just gonna keep them as
Yeah.
is, so that
We-
might have come from.
Oh.
Yep.
Julie was kind of in the middle of
Yeah,
it a little
with
bit.
the- with the
Stuff going
So
on.
with the
those might have been
audit.
from me
So-
sending to you.
Miraculously, during the clerk's recommendation, there's going to be some reductions.
Yeah.
So this overall bottom line, last year I think I took 90,000 out, and this year it's down another 9. But there's just some different line items that need to be upped and down, I guess.
On your sheet, did you have the air ballots to talk about?
No, I didn't, because that one I have rushed through that one too. So we can talk about that though when we get done with the lines.
You
Yeah.
know what? Do you even want to
No,
go?
because his numbers don't match.
Yeah, the numbers
Yeah.
aren't matching quite,
So-
so.
Oh,
If you'll just give us your sheets, then we'll propose some recommendations. And
okay.
But let's talk about the idea that we have for air ballots though, because that is appropriate
That's
right
the
now.
little electronic
Yeah,
thing.
Well, there's electronic poll books,
Yeah.
and then there's a ballot on demand system. So the electronic poll books would reduce a lot of, like, people getting the wrong ballot, because it's going to tell the poll workers exactly what to ballot to issue, especially in a primary when we've got 5 different ballot styles. And then it'll give us also the ability, instead of hand wanding and hand balancing a poll book, we just plug it into the machine and download it. So there's a lot of labor savings in that. One of the biggest things we wanted to do first, because we're really not sure. Did you want to jump in here, Jason? I just kind of.
well, yeah, you're doing good.
So when Phil McGrain takes office, if he wins, we're not really sure where we're going to be with our voter database. So we kind of pumped the brakes on electronic poll books. But the air ballot on demand, you would just buy the ballot stock, and they're printers that are about this big. And I think we'd have to put them under because our countertop's kind of full. But when somebody comes in, it would just be an early voting and mail-outs. You type in their name, and it'll tell the person, the worker, exactly what ballot style they're eligible. Because some elections, we have like 11 different ballot styles. It'll tell them which one. You hit print, and it prints the ballot. And you're not buying any early vote ballots, because in this primary, I really thought it was going to be busier, so I went a little heavy on ballots. But we're $60,000, $70,000 just in ballots for election day and early votes. But if we took out half of that, that $30,000 would pay for an air ballot on demand system in 2 or 3 elections, probably. Just not buying any absentee.
So you,
I like
there are a few counties. Julie and I went and saw Twin Falls County had this, and this is exactly how they use their air ballot printers. They, during early walk-in voting and mail out, somebody walks in, you print their ballot, and they look the same as the ballots. It's not like the little express vote card. It looks like a normal ballot. It's on their card stock, and
So you're
Then-
looking at, with a color stripe like we do in a primary, so it's easy at a glance. Everybody can tell which ballot they've got in their hand. And it also, that color mark also is a security mark also, that it can't be, well, our machines won't read a photocopied ballot anyway, but it's kind of a security built into the ballot. It was 31 cents, I think, a ballot with a color mark. 29 cents if you don't put a color mark. But then if you're just looking at buying stock, it's probably somewhere between 5 and 10 cents a ballot. So the savings all the way around in that system is. And did you talk to a clerk to see How many thousands of dollars a piece?
They, well, they told us when we were in Omaha,
Yeah.
it's about, isn't it about 22,000 a piece?
Oh,
Or was that all
For
of
the
them?
I think that would be for all of them.
That's all of
I
them.
think it was like
For
5,000
three of
a
them,
piece.
yeah.
We
For
were
three
gonna-
of them, it was about $23,000.
Brandy would need one to do mail outs too, so we might look at 4 if we can. But like, it's gonna pay for itself in 2 or 3 election cycles.
So my question would be, why wouldn't you do one of these at each of the polling locations? I know there's a lot of them, but
It's, because they're big.
They're big
it's
and
not
they're-
like you're.
No.
The electronic
Don't
polls
you
No.
have
are
a connection
tiny.
too?
Well,
With
it-
the
it's-
internet and all that?
The software is directly linked into our voter database, which is
Oh.
why
Yeah.
we use it for early voting, and so they'd have
Gotcha.
to have that polls set up at the polls.
Gotcha, okay.
So within your budget sheets, we do have, down in the capital, line 904, we've got 28,000 in there for the election air ballots.
Gotcha.
So, that we did get in there.
Which one's that on? That's probably not
That
on
second
mine.
page,
Yeah.
line
Yes.
904.
One that we created and sent to them from.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to keep it. That's all I
We'll
have.
fix the rest of Julie's numbers,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about it.
So there'll be a
Again.
reduction.
Okay. All right.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate the time.
See ya.
Okay, bye, have fun.
Come again.
Dad, can we out?
Oh, gosh. Okay. All right, so mine is pretty simple. Obviously, employees are raised like everybody else. If we want to skip down to office supplies, I am taking that down 1,000 to 4,000. And that might actually continue to go down. We've saved quite a bit of money on office supplies just from our electronic recordings software. We're not printing anything to scan or anything like that, so we're saving quite a bit there. Records destruction, I didn't budget any last year. We might have some stuff that needs to be destroyed this year, so I put $1,000 in there. 2021 I didn't budget and we ended up spending $800, so I wanted to be safe on that. If you jump down to operating supplies, I am increasing that 2,000. I'm bumping it up to $14,000 total. That's for our on-base and Integra that a bunch of offices in the county use. But the clerk decided to put it in our budget because it was complicated to try to split it out between licenses. And then that's also for our Municode for our ordinances online as well. Jump down to hostess supplies. I kept that the same at 3,000. Software support, I had put in there 13,000 for our Eagle recording software maintenance per year. That's actually moved to IT. So we're
So we
taking
can
that
take that
out.
out.
Yeah, I confirmed with Adam. I didn't look at my notes before I added that in there the first time. If you want to jump down to the repair and maintenance of office equipment, I kept that the same at 3,000. Then back to the second page on postage, kept that at 3,600. And then jump down to travel, I kept that at 5,000. And then the travel for clerk and recorder.
I show that at 3,500. The travel clerk
We've got,
recorder.
I have two, so we have travel, which is for Jason, that's at 5,000, and then travel clerk recorder, I've got at 3,500, which I kept the same.
Oh, okay.
Both of those are the same, do you see both of those in
Yes,
there?
I do,
Okay.
thank you.
And then education, I kept the same at 3,500. And then they added a clerk deputy education line. So I added 2,000 to that. That's new and that's for me, right, Christy?
The way
Which-
the software works, she's tracked separate. I'll explain it when I do ours.
Which I think I've always been with the clerk recorder, so
Yeah.
I added it to that, but I don't know if I'm actually gonna need 2,000 or not, but I figured that was a good starting point. And then if you jump down to the education for clerk recording, I reduced that to 1,000. And hopefully we'll have trainings for our recording staff maybe this year. Jump down to telephone. I increased that $2,500 to a total of 5,000. And that was because we'd almost spent $2,500 this year. So in talking with Christy, this is the county phones, right?
Yeah, these are county phones. It was trending up, so we'll just watch it.
So I bumped that up just to make sure we've got coverage there. Telephone and iPad, I kept at 1,000. Lease office equipment, I kept at 5,000. Document archiving and storage, I bumped that $500, so a total of 1,500. I think that's it for me.
I think so.
The rest is mine.
Yeah, the rest is yours. Do you have any questions about those? They're pretty easy ones. Pretty minimal.
For the auditing office, we didn't have any changes on A or B, or I mean on A or benefits. Yeah, sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're done.
I did take a few lines up. We're seeing an increase in invoices and processing for our office with all the growth within the county. So I took office supplies up a little bit. Operating supplies, my chair is trashed, so I need a new chair. And then we've got money in there for a new printer, just simply because.
Is that for you or for the office?
The printer? It's the office. I don't have one in my office.
Okay.
I make myself get up and
That's
walk.
what I thought, but
Yeah.
when I was reading that,
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we've got 2 printers in there, and as much as everybody has going on, we keep them all pretty busy, and we've been trying to use the copier a little bit more due to the savings that we've heard, but it's just not too many people doing too much.
yeah.
Well, I'm interested to see Adam's process that he
Yeah.
wants to do,
Yeah.
so.
And we, not knowing the full implementation of Tyler, we are a little more paperless, but until we outsource and have departments doing invoicing themselves, we're not going to see much of a decrease in any of that yet, and I'm not sure how long that's going to take to realize. So, not a ton of extra money, but if we don't need a printer, obviously we won't buy it. But it's in there just in case. We still have printing and binding. That's still at $200. We've been trying to reutilize. We don't do as many bound financials as we used to, but we do a handful of them. And we've been recycling paper from prior years. And then, like our binders and our not CAFRs, budget books, stuff like that. We not use, it's only $200. Publications were required to submit the financials and then the budget, and so that's what that covers that. The postage machine, kept that the same. Same thing with repair and maintenance. Postage, we're seeing a little bit less. Hopefully that's not going to bite us, just because, like I said, we've got more processing and checks. But we'll just buy ahead this year with any money we have left over. The travel and education, this also includes grants. So we've got that included in there. I did put more money in here just simply because I want to send at least 2 people to Tyler training, one for payroll and one for financials. And the training alone for that is like $1,200, and that's if we do early bird. So for me, that is ridiculous in registration, and it's going to be big cities. Next year it's in San Antonio. This year it was in Indianapolis. So it's going to be possibly a little bit pricey to do that.
I got a place for you to stay down there.
You do? Nice.
My daughter lives down there.
This also covers IAC, and we used to go to Novatime training. We haven't done that for a couple of years with COVID, so there's a chance that we might need to do that. So that would be all of that travel. And that includes everybody in our office, like I said, Nancy, and if we get Chantel doing some grant stuff, that'll cover that too. Most of the grants are webinars, but there's a few traveling ones. Nancy's got one planned in
October.
Yeah, I can't remember where it's at though.
Phoenix.
Phoenix. So, but that, like I said,
Got a
covers
place
all
for
of
you to stay
that.
down there too.
There you go.
Scottsdale.
There you go. And then jump down, we've got education for auditing, and again, those are for all the same things. Plus I need to get payroll starting to do some. They haven't been doing them a lot. The GASB training is where I pay for my GFOA, but we've also got dues for GASB, where I keep up on all the new pronouncements and stuff like that. The grants were a part of grant finance, what is it, official, something like that. Grant professional, something like that, but we also have a subscription to Thompson Grants, which gives, it's like $2,000, but it gives 3 people access, grant writing and keeping up on all the pronouncements, that kind of stuff. So the license certification, that's for a CPA license, that was for Katie. We'll keep that in there in case the next person we hire has their license. If they don't, we won't use it. Then we've got the certificate. So when I submit the financials and the budget book, they charge us roughly $545, something like that. It's based on population, to submit those and get those evaluated for review. And then down to capital, I put in $25,000 for Tyler so that we can finish implementing and getting training on the modules that we have not yet utilized. There might be one addition that came up last week that I'm still waiting to get a price on. And due to all of the leases that we are taking on, FY22, I have to implement GASB 96, which is lease reporting. I have to do footnotes, journal entries, and I have to have amortization schedules for every lease that we have. Even if we have 5 leases under one program, I have to do them individually. That is going to be way more than I can keep up with. So when I was at GFOA last week, I talked to 3 different entities, and I'm going to have some demos to see how they can help us implement. All I'll have to do is give them the contracts. They'll put it through their software, see if it's something I have to report on, or if I don't, and then they will kick out all the journal entries I need to do, all of the footnotes that I might need to do, and then give me the amortization schedule to put in the financials.
Sweet.
And because we're probably going to have, I'm thinking, I told them last week 20, 25. I don't think that number's realistic. I think we're probably in the 30 and 40s. They said anything over 10 you need software to manage. I got a quote, and I can't remember what the guy told me how many per lease. But there's no way I'm going to keep up on that. I'm 3 months late on financials this year. If I had to do all the leases, I'm going to be, I'll never get it done.
Years late.
So that's going to be added at the clerk's recommendation. It was something I was going to try and do on my own. I can't. So I talked to Teresa with Whipfley. She said they could be a resource also. See, but we're also going to be a lessor and a leasee because of all of our cell towers. we're gonna be on the other side of it. I hadn't even thought of that until last week. So every time you see me cringe when you talk about leases, that's why. So, we may not need all that 25,000 for the Tyler, but that'll help us get vendor self-serve going, that'll help us get the e-procurement, that'll get us the purchasing, that'll get us the, our outsourcing to the departments so that they can start getting in and getting access. Help get Katie up to speed. We've got Caitlin, sorry, I was thinking with Katie leaving. We've got financials training at the end of the month. We've got capital asset training next month. So anyways, still lots to go on it.
Okay. Thank you.
But good.
Good.
We'll fix that sheet with Julie.
Yeah. So some of the stuff we've taken up, Julie will drop hers, break even.
Yeah, the only tricky one will be those air ballots. For everything else will be the same.
But with
I think it's
operating,
a fascinating technology. I think that's fun.
if it saves operating.
Well, it
Yeah.
takes out human error too, with
Yeah,
the wrong ballot.
It's
That's what I was
much.
wondering about, putting them at the
Well,
polling
you-
center so
you-
you don't.
You think about it, if you
try
have
not
11
to.
ballot styles
So there's a lot of ballot styles
and
sometimes. And
for
it's-
one precinct,
Yeah.
and somebody comes in, the number, it'd blow your mind. We don't know what somebody's going to request
Yeah.
before they walk through that door. And so you have to have enough for whichever of those 11 ballot styles that person requests. So your overage in what you buy is crazy, because you run out of a
Well,
ballot.
you have to buy
How
a
many-
minimum of 20 instead of 25,
Yeah,
right?
you have
So
to-
like their Constitution and Libertarian that you know isn't going to be very much, you still have to buy 25 of each style for
each.
every
So how many
precinct.
precincts do we have when we have like 5 or more ballot styles in it, or 3, whatever? I'm assuming there's probably a break even where if we bought one for those ones that have multiples.
We'll
No.
we'll go to recess right now.